What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Hot List. I appreciate you guys tuning in, whether you are catching this live on Facebook or watching this on YouTube or your podcast player of choice. Thank you so much for taking time out and listening, downloading the newest episode. In the Hot List, we talk about real estate topics. We talk about real estate questions, maybe concerns, and then, of course, I answer a question of the day that is submitted by a listener of the podcast. If you're listening to the podcast, you have a real estate question that you're not really sure, where to start, how to get it answered, and maybe you're looking on Google, YouTube, and they're just not really any answers that jump out at you, or maybe they're contradicting one another. Well, I would be happy to be the real estate resource that you reach out to and start with. Hopefully, I can answer the question to your satisfaction and use that for future content such as this video. Now, what I do is I not only answer the question for you, but I'm going to use it for a future episode, because if you have that particular question, the chance that somebody else has that question is extremely high. And what better way to help more people than by answering questions, doing episodes like this one, and recording it to get it out to you guys. So thank you so much for tuning in, trusting me with your questions and your real estate resource to get those answers for you. So the question we're going to talk about today is going to be around cabinets. So the question of the day: how do I know when it's time for new cabinets? And I really love this question, because this is something that we just went through less than a year ago. We asked ourselves the same question: is it time to replace our cabinets? Or can we get away with just refacing them? And let's face it, cabinets play a pretty big role in your kitchen. And unfortunately, over time, just like anything, they may not necessarily meet the needs that they once used to. Now, this could be due to age or disrepair over time, or like our situation was kind of a combination of age and needing more storage room than what our current cabinets could provide. Maybe you're starting to realize that along with the age of the cabinets, maybe your decor of the kitchen and surrounding rooms don't match up with your cabinets. And, have you in fact reached the point that you need new cabinets? If you're not sure, spend some time considering how well your cabinets truly meet your current needs. I'm sure they met your needs at one time. Do they still meet those needs today with the family size that you have? And also consider what you would ideally like to have in your kitchen. So as we answer the question, how do I know when it's time for new cabinets? Today we're going to talk about 3 signs that it's time to replace those kitchen cabinets. And as we're getting into this, make sure that you hit that thumbs up, like, subscribe, and download everything, so as new episodes come, you get notified and they're automatically downloaded to your podcast player of choice. If you're listening to this on Facebook or social media, all you got to do is share this out. Also tag somebody. If you have a family member or friend that recently mentioned this or talked about cabinets, tag them in this or send it to them so that they can sit down, listen to this. Maybe this will help them. So, number 1, cabinet condition and function. Now, this is, my opinion, one of the biggest considerations when deciding if it's time for new cabinets. Because, like I kind of prefaced earlier, how well are your current cabinets fitting your life? Here's some things to think about. Whether the condition of the cabinets are causing problems, how well those cabinets actually work for what you need them to do. So let's start with condition. You want to look for signs of damaged areas, doors that are not closing properly, maybe some warped shelves. God knows we had our share of warped shelves, or maybe there's some other physical problem. Also, do you have any of these that you have to leave space in because you're unable to use that space, or they cause other problems? You know, might be time to consider doing something about that instead of just continuing to live with it. What about fit? Have certain items Do you have certain items that you can't put in cabinets because they won't fit, and for that reason you just have some either have to force stuff in there, turn it sideways, maybe you have to rethink how you do that cabinet? Believe me, I've been there 100%, and I know what you're going through. Or maybe parts of the cabinet, like I mentioned, you can't use because of the layout reasons. For us, for example, not only did we have warp shelves, but if we put anything too heavy, then it would sink. If we put anything too tall underneath it, it wouldn't go under there because the shelf was warped. So we had to try to rearrange things and figure out how we could make that work for the time being. Uh, and then you may have an issue with functionality of the cabinets. While some of these may not seem like a major reason to replace your cabinets, ask yourself, how much longer are you going to continue to tolerate this inconvenience or wasted space? At some point, something needs to be done about it, right? Wouldn't it be easier to fix the problem than continue on with it down the road? Number two on the list, cabinet aesthetics. And this is not going to be as big a deal as what the first one is. And because remember, the first one we're talking about damaged cabinets. This is more about how they look. But you may have some cabinets that don't match your other furnishings or the way you want your kitchen to be. This can also be an issue if you want to tie other designs into the kitchen, or maybe you have a kitchen dining room combo. You want to tie those together, and your current cabinets just aren't getting it done. So ask yourself, how well do your existing cabinets go with everything? Are they visually appealing? Remember, your home is an investment. If your cabinets are taking away from the joy of your investment, it's time to replace them. Plain and simple. When replacing your cabinets for aesthetic reasons, there's two ways that this can be done. Number one, it can be done as a standalone job, or it can be part of a larger remodel project, and that's what ours was. Because what originally started for us with floors and baseboard and casing turned into floors, cabinets, countertops, backsplash, doors, casing, baseboard. I mean, it turned into a much larger remodeling project because once looking at it, it was going to be simpler to do things in stages and in a particular order than try to do things around them. So if you're doing a standalone project, take the time to find the new cabinet option that fits well with the layout of your kitchen, as well as is going to tie into the dominant design elements that you want in your kitchen or surrounding rooms. Again, the other option is the full remodel project, like what we went through. And once we decided to get rid of our ugly cabinets, it was time to think about what we wanted our new cabinets to do. What were we missing? What's going to add in inconvenience as well as looks? And from there, use that information to decide how you want your other remodeling decisions or projects to go. And finally, number 3, decision time. Whether you need new cabinets or not is a big decision. Once you weigh out all the options, you should have an idea of whether your current cabinets are going to last longer, or maybe they're on their last legs and it's just time to cut your loss. You got to cut the wagon loose and move on. If you decide that it's time for new cabinets, your next step is going to be finding the right style of cabinets that you want, as well as the cabinet maker and installer. For our cabinets, we had an idea of the style and the color of cabinets that we wanted. We actually got 3 estimates from companies. I would absolutely recommend that, because with that, it kind of helps those companies, kind of, in my opinion, keeps them honest. Now, the cabinets were not identical because they were three different companies, but they all shared the same color, same measurements, and same features. From there, you have to decide on price. Everybody's working within a budget. We all know that. If you're not working within a budget on a remodel, that's awesome. Congrats. I'm not one of those people. Once you decide what your budget is or what you're willing to spend on your cabinets, then we had to move on with the estimates. And we were surprised, out of those 3 estimates, one was twice as much as the other 2. So when it came time to make our decision, it came down to the 2 remaining companies. From there, it came down to service, like customer service, and how we were treated in the store. One company took us very seriously. The other one just kind of minimized us and blew us off. One company came out to physically measure our kitchen and took pictures, schematic, drew layout. The other one just took our word for it on what the measurement was and called it good enough. One company made the arrangements for the installer, the countertops, and the backsplash. The other one advised us that it was our choice and we could use whoever. Now, the company that made the arrangements, they gave us recommendations. I called and went with the person that we wanted to, and our installer as well as the company coordinated with everybody, so we knew, floors going in this day, cabinets are going in this day, countertops going in this day, backsplash is going in this date. And I mean, it was just seamless. So all things considered, we obviously went with the company that had the better service and took us seriously. Because of this decision, the process was so much better, so much smoother, and was a lot quicker than it would have been had we just had to stay on top of this company, or didn't make all the arrangements through the company that we got our cabinets through. So those are the 3 signs that it's time to replace your kitchen cabinet. Again, number 1 was the cabinet function and condition. Again, my opinion, this is the biggest consideration when it comes to deciding if it's time for new cabinets, because you got to ask yourself, how well are your current cabinets fitting your your current life? I mean, are they measuring up, or are there is there signs of physical damage, warped shelves, doors not closing properly? All of this is going to add up, and you can really only get by with this for so long until it's such an inconvenience. Something's got to be done about it. Number two, cabinet aesthetics. Not as big a deal as the first one, obviously, but if you have the cabinets that don't match any other furnishings, don't tie into designs, your home is an investment. And if you're not enjoying your investment, it's time to replace and cut your losses. And finally, number three is decision time. When it comes to new cabinets, whether you do it or you don't, it is a big deal. You need to weigh out your options and have an idea of what you want in your next new cabinets, and get some prices, get some estimates, and go with the company that's going to give you or provide the best service, or that you have the best interaction with. That is going to wrap it up for me today in the hot list. Thank you guys so much for joining and tuning in. Again, I'm your host, Matt Johnson with Keller Williams Realty. I do this because your experience matters and should be trusted with a veteran. Y'all have a phenomenal Friday, a phenomenal weekend, and I'll see you Monday, 12 o'clock. Take care.